Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached impasse. Either we rise en masse like the courageous Egyptians, followed by the long quiescent Arab people, throwing off their chains and defying state police bullets, and we should be filling our streets with too patient British people finally aroused, like the Egyptians, forcing Parliament and the government to quit the German-controlled EU, European Union, now. There is actually not a second to lose. We not only are at impasse, we are at a conjunction of powers of the EU and the New World Government about to take us over in 2011 and finish the job in 2012. And it's all carefully prepared. We accept our present humiliating position of enslavement to rule by unelected dictatorship under fast-growing German leadership, with the new Führer emerging, and you have pictures of him all around with his family, plus Marxist powers seeking world government, pushing behind where you usually find the devil coming along behind. I'll not detail every cunning treaty accepted by each of our successive governments since the first lie of the common market, reducing us by salami slicing to our present ignominious state of total obedience to every law, statute, and directive and ignominy issued by the commissars and bureaucrats of our European masters, who themselves serve the devil. Our inherited Judeo-Christian faith, which upheld an orderly society, have been well-nigh swept aside, no longer taught as originally in our churches and schools, with scarcely a Bible opened or even read. It was Moses who brought us the simple guide of God's 10 Commandments, which should be the guide of every one of us through life. Moses also appointed priests, if you remember, to order and teach his unruly people released from slavery, somewhat like condition of ours. How these priests have changed in the interim, especially with their mission to control our unruly children, and parents who are also losing control of children, seeking pleasure only in drink, drugs, and careless sex with ever-changing partners, whilst main adult interests seem centered in sport, gambling, drink, sex, and television. All that is our present state, and for that I blame our elected leaders who have betrayed our people into European Union clutches. They, our members of Parliament, are elected to guard our sovereignty, our people, our country, and defend us from all forms of attack, they have signed in our name illegal treaties, illegal laws and directives, and have failed to guard our freedom under common law, seeking their own ends, of which we've had so many samples recently, even MPs going to prison, which never seemed to happen in my day. As the Egyptians have shown, this can be made to stop now. Not, I must repeat, from small, even many good individual groups, units, journals, books, pamphlets, newspapers, all and each one good in itself, and it's striving for the same objectives. But a combination of all these, which we have sought for many years, and it is strange how these individual groups who collect our subscriptions refuse to join together to make a combination. A combination of worthy efforts. Combined large meetings we need of hundreds, leading to rousing our people by hundreds of thousands seeking justice. Our people must be roused by the realization of truth, sweeping away those tissues of lies and pretense. They already begin to realize our true situation for themselves, because it's being thrust upon them, of our country suffering from what is practically bankruptcy, with no actual money of our own. It is not amusing that we have, of our own volition, given £7 billion to help our friend Ireland out of their difficulties. But we don't have £7 billion. We don't have any money. So where did he get the £7 billion? We borrow it at high percentage interest, which we can ill afford, just as we are supporting other countries with billions of pounds, whilst we are demanding cuts from our people coming to the same amount of billions. Can we afford to support others when we cannot even support our own country? So our people must be roused by the realization of truth, sweeping away those tissues of lies and pretense. They already begin to realize our true situation for themselves of semi-bankruptcy, as the gross mismanagement of previous government is revealed in its stark reality. So they are priming themselves, our people, if you watch and listen in the pubs and elsewhere, as they realize their own situation, now forced by present cuts and taxes to struggle to contain our country's indebtedness. People are awakening, protesting, and almost ready for action against their own situation and daily costs of living. Now is the time ripe for calling for mass action, peaceful mass action, to obtain the necessary changes to restore our country. No weapons are needed, just the quiet insistence of us all, like the Arabs have shown us, without fear of the police or the army attacking us. That's my beginning for you to think about.
With honours degrees in German, French and philosophy, in 1935 from Bristol University, whose Chancellor was Winston Churchill, and from Freiburg University, and he went on to become a lecturer. Between 1937 and 1939, he repeatedly offered his services to the War Office, as he was pledged to do, after passing officer training courses at university. Despite his warnings of the growing secret rearmament of Germany, which he had witnessed, he was informed that there was no necessity. No newspapers would print his articles on the growing Nazi menace. Eventually, tired of waiting, he joined the army in the ranks, was finally commissioned at OCTU in the Royal Artillery, and volunteered for the Middle East campaign. After a hazardous voyage with many of his convoy ships sunk, he eventually arrived at Bombay. Selected for a decryption intelligence course, he was then flown to Heliopolis, Egypt, to join the 8th Army for urgently needed cryptanalyst work, breaking German army ciphers. He remained with the 8th Army until the El Alamein victory, supplying Generals Alexander and Montgomery with detailed information on Rommel's Africa Corps, Rommel's Africa Corps order of battle, strength and tactics. After Al Alamein, he was posted to Wireless Intelligence India to assist in breaking Japanese codes. He finally became Lieutenant Colonel OC Int SC outside Calcutta, in charge of gathering Japanese cipher messages and with the maintenance and welfare of radio operators in jumble forward units of the 14th Forgotten Army in the Burma campaign. On returning home, he was appointed SO1 Colonel under the Foreign Office, in charge of the denazification and reopening of German University in the British zone of Germany, based in Cologne. He completed his tour of duty in 1950 and eventually founded 3 successful companies until his final retirement in 1983. Well, I don't know about final retirement, because to my knowledge he has never stopped working, having written this book, Secret Communications, and the Third Reich and the Fourth Reich, and possibly many others as well. And who is this remarkable, outstanding man? Why, it's our own dear friend, Harry Beckhough.
Mind his ear.
Well,
Wrong side, Margaret.
Is it?
Wrong side.
Sorry, turn round now. The pin's on the wrong side, actually.
which side do you think? Not the back side.
He hasn't lost his touch yet, has he?
There we are. It's a bit cocky, but never mind. It gives me enormous pleasure on behalf of the Marlborough Group and the British Constitution Group, both Plymouth and Bournemouth, and his many friends, acquaintances and colleagues, to present this medal to you, Harry, to thank you for a life of dedication, service and patriotism to our dear country. Thank you.